and welcome back to the Spruce Grove Public Library's YouTube channel. I'm Sarah, the Children and Youth Services Librarian here, and we are continuing reading Love, Hate and Other Filters by Samira Ahmed. So here it is. Kind of cool book, actually. So we are about halfway through it by now, so if you haven't already tuned in and watched some of our other videos of the previous chapters, then do go ahead and watch those, and then you can catch up with us. We are going to continue reading this, and we're up to chapter 14. Dozens of flashing lights blaze outside my parents' clinic. As Violet drives up, the world decelerates, and tiny details come into sharp focus. Surreal slowness of an empty swing moving back and forth. Blades of grass seem to ripple individually, and brilliant sunlight sparkles off the jagged edges of what was once a plate glass window that named my parents' practice, Doctor and Dr. Aziz, DDS. I see my parents shaking hands with the mayor in the vestibule. Mayor Graham, Batavia's one local celebrity. If by celebrity you mean the guy who tosses candy from the back of a red convertible that leads Batavia's annual Flag Day parade. Truthfully, that parade is really popular. He knows what the job of a small-town mayor is. He shows up at every football game and makes sure the garbage gets picked up and the streets get ploughed when it snows. He's a good guy, and my parents voted for him. Everyone did. He ran unopposed. The action lurches back to full speed. My brain is speed ramping life from slow motion back to real life. This is not normal. None of this is normal. I run from the car, I yank open the door and shove past the mayor and hug my mum and dad at the same time. My whole body shakes and I step back. My dad brushes his index finger across my cheek. A tidy row of steri strips mark a spot above his left eye. Brownish red drops of blood stand out against the white of his lab coat. Dad, are you okay? I can't believe. Maya, can't you see that Mayor Graham was so nice to stop by, he said, ever aware of decorum. I'm relieved, honestly. Relieved that he's himself and talking to me in the patient, but admonishing tones people use to tell a 5-year-old they've done something wrong. My mum, though, is pale and dishevelled. She takes pride in her perfect neat buns, but now strands of hair are carelessly tucked behind her ears, out of place. If I act according to Dad's wishes, maybe Mum will feel better too. Hi, Mayor Graham, I said. Thank you for checking in on my parents. No need to thank me, Maya, he says. He pauses, waiting until I return his gaze. Maybe he wants to know that I'm reassured by his presence, that he's taking this seriously. What he doesn't understand is that right now, nothing can reassure me. He turns to my parents. Asif, Sophia, I'll be in touch. You're in good hands with the Batavia PD. And with that, he heads out. There are no cameras, no press. Nothing but a policeman and an aide, I'm guessing. The aide leaves with him. I might not feel calmed by the mayor's presence, but I can tell from the way my dad's shoulders have relaxed that the mayor's promises have eased a little at least of his worry. And for now, that's enough. I know I complain to feel that Batavia is too provincial, but I think sometimes I take the positives, the people, for granted. Violet bursts in and throws her arms around my mum. Sophia, as if we were so scared. As if, does your head hurt? When they find who did this, there'll be a line of people who want to kick his ass. My father has always vaguely approved of Violet's casual way of calling him by his first name, not to mention her profanity, ever since we became friends, but today it brings a gentle smile to his face. I'm okay, thank you, Violet, only a cut. Thank you for bringing Maya here, my mum finally manages. Her words are slow and deliberate, and her voice is hoarse. Dad, I ask, what exactly happened? Your mum was in the back, and I was chatting with a couple of patients in the waiting room, and a brick came flying through the window, glass shattered everywhere. Patients started screaming and I felt a sharp pain and then felt blood on my forehead. At first we thought it was a bomb and I yelled at everyone to get out and we ran out the back entrance to the parking lot. I called 911 and they told us to stay away from the building. The police came quickly with a special squad from the country in case it was explosive. But they went in and they saw it was a brick with a paper tied around it with rubber bands, not a bomb. What did it say, I ask. My dad hesitates. He opens and closes his mouth, but no words come out. You're dead, you fucking terrorist, my mum quotes, and it had our home address written at the bottom. Her face is grim, and her voice barely audible as she says what my dad won't, or can't. I cover my mouth with my hand. I've never heard my mum drop the F-bomb before, and my stomach churns. I taste the bile rising in my throat, and my dad gently squeezes my mum's elbow. She looks away, not interested in reassurance or affection. We should stay somewhere else, in a hotel or with my sister, she says. At least until they catch whoever did this. It's too dangerous to go home. I shake my head instinctively. I get it. She's frightened. She's a mum worrying for her kids' safety, but nowhere is safe. The logistics don't even work. But they might never catch the guy, and how am I supposed to go to school if we're at Hina's? I tried to keep the panic out of my voice. Maya can stay with me, Violet offers. I know my dad will be cool with it, and I can drive her to school anyway. My mum shakes her head no. Violet doesn't get up. If you're worried, we can always ask the police to beef up the patrol around my house. We have an alarm system since my dad is totally anxious about how quiet it is. It will be safer for everyone if Maya stays with family. Will you please stop talking like I'm not even here, I demand. I can decide for my... No, my dad interrupts. No one is going anywhere. We're going to stay at home and go to work, and Maya will go to school like everything is normal. But it's not normal. Look what happened today. After so many years in this town with no trouble, I'm taking Maya to Hina's, and you can stay here if you want. My mother mutters the last words under her breath. He takes her hand. Jan, you're right. It is not normal. It's a death threat, and my mum's voice turns from fearful to frantic as she begins to argue with my father in Urdu. I sigh. It's only a matter of time before they took to their personal language. Of course they do. It cloaks them in the feelings of home, but it leaves me on the outside looking in. Violet and I walk out, leaving my parents to their quarrel. They don't even notice I'm gone. When I turn back to look at them through the glass door, I see my mum gesticulating wildly, and my dad catches my eye and then nods at my mum to stop, and they walk out to join us. The chief of police approaches. He walks with purpose, wide, confident steps. Eyes forward, shoulders back. I haven't done anything, but I still feel like I'm about to get busted. The fact that he carries a gun seems utterly redundant. He stretches out his hand and removes his silver-rimmed glasses with the other. Miss Aziz, I'm Chief Wickham, Batavia PD. He remembers to add a smile when he shakes my hand, like someone told him he's less intimidating that way. Hi, Chief, sir. Officer Jameson tells me you reported trouble at school. A student named Brian Jennings harassed you. Crap. I didn't want to bring up the Brian incident. Not now. Especially not with my mum in emotional overload. And I catch Violet's eye and she gives me a sympathetic grin. My parents take positions flanking me. They heard it all. What happened at school? Did you get hurt? My mum's distress kicks into overdrive. See, I'm right. It's too dangerous here. Mum, relax, I say, despite knowing that relaxing is not in her wheelhouse. And I turn to the police chief. Name-calling, that's all. No big deal. This is another situation best handled by a little white lie about my feelings. And the chief nods. Has anything like this happened before, with Brian or anyone else? I shake my head. This is the weird incident at the idle hour when Brian saw me with Phil, but I don't think being a jerk qualifies as a reportable offence. The chief turns to my parents. Clearly they've already been acquainted. Doctor and Dr. Aziz. I'll send Officer Jameson and Olsen home with your family. And he gestures to the two cops standing at their squad car. I'll put them on first watch at your place. Can they check around our house in case... My mum raises a trembling hand to her mouth. Of course. And when we're finished here, I will personally escort your husband home. I can drive Maya and Sophia, and they can wait with me in the car until the officers give us the all clear, Violet offers. Thank you, Violet, my dad says. His voice is level, and it's his response to my mum's frenzy. The more she freaks out, the calmer he sounds. My dad nods to the chief, who turns and walks with long strides to Officer Jameson's car. Don't worry, Jan, he says to my mum, and she walks away from us without a word. She's in tears by the time she reaches Violet's car. I pause outside our front door, bracing myself. My mum has already rushed into the house, and Violet hugged me extra long before driving off. I take a deep breath and then another, and I look down our street. It's quiet. The late afternoon sun dances off the top of the maple trees that are planted all along the parkway. In autumn, the street is ablaze with the reds and oranges of the leaves, and when I was a kid, I would gather the brightest reds of the fallen leaves and tie them with scraps of ribbon into little bouquets for my mum. She would always feign surprise and delight and place the leaves in a vase in the middle of the table. Maybe the delight was genuine. All I know is how happy it made my 7-year-old self. I would add water to the vase to make the leaves last longer, even knowing that no matter my efforts, the leaves would eventually dry and curl in on themselves. I wave to Officer Jameson as he steps back in the car after taking a look-see round the property. He's here to protect us, and I clench my jaw, realising we actually need protection. The vandal has our address. He knows where we live. I don't know if my mum will ever sleep well again. I don't know if I'll ever sleep well again. And I sigh. Alone in the house with my mum is the last place I want to be. I fold my hands across my body, gripping my twisting stomach, and scan my memory for a moment of reprieve. My mind's eye comes to rest on Phil and us floating together in the pond under the warm sun, and the delicious graze of his fingertips on my skin as he helps me relax in the water. Inside the house, my mum stands at the kitchen counter, and she winces while she stirs her tea, as if holding the spoon pains her. I shrink into myself. In a single afternoon, my mum has aged. She seems greyer, her movements older and laboured. She opens her mouth, and it takes a few seconds for the words to come out. It's too dangerous. The police are outside. We're safe. She talks past me. It's too dangerous for you to be far away. You can't go to New York. You need to stay close to us. It's decided. And she betrays no emotion as she says this. She turns her back on me and continues stirring her tea. Tears flow down my face, and my mum sits down at the kitchen table and takes a sip from her cup. I'm a ghost in the room, and I run up the stairs and slam my bedroom door. I don't even make it to my bed. Instead, I collapse to the floor, sobbing for Phil, for New York, for the dead, for everything we've lost, and for what I've just learnt, that hope is just a million shards of broken glass. And that's the end of our chapter. Thanks for joining us, and we'll read some more chapters soon.